for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, The Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Time for the show. We'll be talking to Blake Sloan coming up in just a second. During the next 30 minutes, you're going to be hearing a lot of information. And when you do, you're probably going to have some questions. You're going to want to talk to Blake. That's easy to do because he's available. All you have to do is call him at his office. It's Sloan Realty Group. The phone number is 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to the website, blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. We'll repeat all that contact information several times over the next 30 minutes. In the meantime, let's bring him in and get the show started. Here's Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Got an awesome new show. A ton of great stuff we'll talk about today. Super excited about that. We're going to dig into the micro market numbers, and they're very, very interesting to say the least. They're all over the place. Some areas had significant double-digit decline in sales. Some had significant increases in sales. And so we'll dig into like what your neighborhood did, what your zip code did. I'll recap the overall macro market numbers for anyone that missed that, but they're very interesting to say the least, especially this time of the year. We also have some crazy news in the mortgage world. This past week, we had just hit a 21-month low in mortgage rates. And so it's a huge surge in both refinances and purchases. And we'll go into what those numbers are in regards to how many more people jumped off that fence. And so one of the numbers I was reading in a national article is they saw a 10% jump in new buyers getting pre-qualified. And so we'll talk about what that means, obviously, for us here. And I talked about this on the last show. When rates are going down, obviously, that's going to have those people in the middle jump off the fence. So we'll see what that means for any home sellers out there. Also, we'll kind of dig into some awesome success stories. I'm actually closing on a house on Monday. I'm buying from one of our people. Everybody asks that question all the time. Did you Blake actually buy houses? Yep. I'm closing on one Monday morning, cash, no contingencies in that regard. And it's a very significantly priced property. And so we'll talk about that in our success stories. Two other awesome success stories we'll get to. And then also have the top 4 renovations for the highest ROI, which is return on investment. We'll talk about that as well. And it kind of gives you the percentage of what you're looking to get back based on what you invest.
Sounds good. A lot of stuff to get to, and we're just getting started. If you're just tuning in for the very first time and you don't know who's this Blake Sloan guy, well, he's been dubbed the real estate whiz kid. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, other national publications as well. You've seen him on TV with Fox and Friends and on NBC as well. And you've also heard the personal endorsements from Sean Hannity, Glenn Beck, also from Barbara Corcoran, Gary LaVox, and a whole lot more all on this very radio station. Here's the thing. Nobody else can do that. Nobody else has done that. It's pretty much unprecedented. Now, also, if you've never listened before, Blake has he has trademark systems to help both buyers and sellers. Now, he'll let you know what those systems are if you get involved with them. He's not going to spill his guts right here because those are trademarked. But he does spill his guts at least a little bit to let you know the most important factor, the most important part of those trademark systems and what they are.
Yes, and this again, that's my calling behind this show, why we do what we do. Even part of our success story we talk about today is how we help fix someone's nightmare they had previously of trying to sell their house for a year and a half through multiple agents unsuccessfully. Because people didn't live up to what they said they were going to do. And so the reality is the single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing only. And that thing is the agent you choose, period. And everyone thinks it's something else or, the paint colors. The reality is everyone makes this huge mistake of thinking that real estate agents are the same. It could not be further from the truth, right? Just like any doctor, any lawyer, they're not the same, right? Unfortunately, everyone's different. Some are better than others. And so the reality is in selling your house, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, guess what? That puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. Anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball. And that could be anything from how they price the property, photography, do they respond to leads, do they answer their telephone? All these things matter because they're variables that can make or break you and get your home sold. And so what we did is identify them. First of all, most agents have no clue what they are. They're just kind of winging it, right? They just get a listing, put it to the MLS, and this price one brings the buyer. And meanwhile, they're hunting down the next listing, right? That's what you see happens most of the time in the industry. That's kind of behind the curtains, right? And so the reality of what we did, we identified all those and created a system that's proven repeatable, that creates leverage at every single point. It's like stacking the dominoes. And so what happens is you create a small part of leverage at point 1, small part of leverage at point 2. And over the course of 118 variables, guess what? There's a massive gap between us and everyone else. That system's called the Guaranteed Sold System. Only proven system sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. And so what it does, it creates proven results that we can, obviously count on. And so it allows me to invest a massive amount of money to help get that sold because we manage those variables. And so we talk about the analogy all the time. It's like two people taking off for a marathon. They take off at the same time. Some finish 2, 3, 4 hours ahead of everyone else. Kind of like the example last week, the guys on my team, they were kind of like giving some crap to the old guy on the team and saying they're going to beat me. I beat them by 30 minutes in the same exact course, about 10 miles of all these obstacles. And so the reality is there's a difference in how to do that in small increments. And so that's what we do in regards to getting your home sold. And that happens both in price, aka getting you more money, and also in time. And so that's called the guaranteed sold system. Works very, very well. On the flip side of that is the buyer transaction. Guess what? There's 100 plus variables on the buyer transaction, meaning there's 100 plus instances where it can make or break your bank, right? It's going to cost you money or gain you money in that transaction. So we did the same exact thing there, reverse engineered every single one and create a system that's proven repeatable, that creates maximum leverage every single one. And what they do is they give our client a competitive advantage. That's called the unfair advantage home buying system. To get you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation when you're negotiating price, and also the best negotiation when negotiating the terms from a home inspection. And so both those are designed to give our clients the ultimate competitive advantage, and it does it every single day, not just here, but also other parts of the country license it out as well.
A lot of good stuff to get into. Coming up in just a minute, you heard Blake talk about some really weird numbers as far as some of the micro markets and how the real estate market is looking right now. We'll look at that. We'll also look at some of the most important numbers you're going to be seeing all weekend and hearing all weekend. That's the mortgage rates. That's coming up in just a second. How much money could you make? How much money could you lose? That is all in just a minute. You are listening to the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Hey, if you were in the market to make the most money for your home, Sean Hannity here with some important advice. Now, look, I'm an active investor. I have bought and sold a lot of properties in hot, cold, moderate markets. And one of the lessons I have learned is this. Hire the agent that knows how to create the most demand for your home. Now, if I needed to create demand in this market, no question, there's only one real estate agent I trust if I needed to sell my home. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, he services the entire Myrtle Beach area, attracts hundreds of buyers every week, and sells a home on average every 24 hours. Now, that helps you generate multiple offers and sell your home for the most money possible. Because it's like getting an immediate offer on your home, because if your home doesn't sell for the price and the deadline you agree to, you will have it bought for cash, and he offers flexible fees. Find out how much demand your home can command right now. Call the agent that creates the most demand. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Myrtle Beach, I would hire Blake Sloan. His international marketing creates so much demand that if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, Blake will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
Coming up in just a second, we'll find out what the mortgage rates are looking like. But you said you've got some micro market numbers as far as the market is concerned. And you said it looks a little bit weird. What's up? What's up?
So all over the place. Obviously, this is the one I get the most feedback about is like, what's my neighborhood selling for? What's my zip code?
Yeah.
Because it is different here, right? We got some from the north end to the south end to inland. And when you make big decisions with your largest asset, you want to know, obviously, the micro market numbers. And so really quick recap for anyone that missed last week. The numbers got a little bit better. Remember that we had a pretty significant decline, about 4% in sales, which is a little bit alarming. But right now for single family resale homes, which is what the majority of the marketplace is, sales were down 1.9% last month. So not a big deal, pretty much flat. There were 561 home sales last month versus 572 the same month last year. And so it gives you a little bit of contrast in that regard. Obviously price was up 1%. So we're seeing that increase in price slow down a little bit than where it was. Remember, a while back it was like double digits, and now it's crept down to 1% increase. So right now the median price $226,500, which is something to obviously keep watching on there as well. The months of supply was actually down a little bit again at 5.4 months of supply, meaning it's still a seller's market. And so we're seeing that it's crept up a little bit over the past couple months. Right now, 5.4 months, which means it's still a perfect opportunity for people who are selling out there. based on inventory. And so that's just something to kind of keep in mind there as well. We'll real quick recap for condos, just so everybody knows. Resale condos, overall closed sales last month down 3.2%. And so that's just something to kind of keep in mind. 599 sales last month. Sales price, great news though, up 8.2% for the overall marketplace. Median price 137 400. And so that's something that's interesting as well. We saw, basically in regards to closed sales for new construction, there was a significant decline, 20.8% decline in new construction. So that's something that's definitely a little bit alarming. We're going to watch and kind of see what happens. There could be a million different reasons for that based on inventory, kind of where we're at. A lot of companies do list their new construction online, allow them to sell it without even listing it. So it's not necessarily trackable, right? It's not like a lot of the resales. And so that's something to look at. But prices, though, in the new construction was up 2.7% last month. So great news overall. So let's dig into the micro market, right? I'm going to fly through it just because everyone likes to hear, like, what's my zip code? What's my area? And so we know everyone that listens and watches online, from different parts of the area. But last month, I'd like to start with Myrtle Beach because it's kind of like the center, right? That's the most relatable to all of them, and it's really kind of what drives everything else. And so this is 29572 and 29577. Closed sales last month down 22%, and so that was kind of a very alarming number for me to watch. Like, whoa, there's something's going on here. It dropped. These are ones that closed. So remember, these probably went under contract, in basically April and also a little bit of March, and so that's kind of what you're seeing. They're usually 30 to 60 days behind to actually close, right? And so just got to keep in mind there's a pipeline there to watch numbers. And so decline last month, like I said, 22. So it went from 96 sales to 74 sales. The great news, though, Myrtle Beach year to date is still at 14.9%. So they had a very, very strong January, February, March, and April. Prices last month in Myrtle Beach up 3.8%, 313,155. It's up 4.9% for the year. And on average, they're getting about 97% of asking price for those listings. It was 97.5 the same month last year. So you may see a little bit of softening. It could be to do with obviously median price rising up to over 300,000, and we'll continue watching that and see. But definitely something to be aware of as a home seller here as well. Condos down 4.3% last month from 231 to 221. Prices, though, up 8.4% with the median price of 129,000 in Myrtle Beach. They're selling on average right now for 95.9% asking price. So overall, very interesting, right, to see a double-digit decline like that. North Myrtle Beach, the same thing. Closed sales from 63 to 42, down 33.3%. And so that's something to kind of watch and see what's going on. Year-to-date sales in Myrtle Beach down 1.3%. The other aspect of that, though, prices still up 8.3%. It went from 284 last year to 307,500 this year. And so what you may be seeing some of this, as we talked about, is it does hit kind of a ceiling sometimes, especially when you hit 300,000 and above. There's just less buyers, especially in a vacation destination where there's not a whole lot of industry and things like that. And so second home buyers or people retiring are typically buying a lot of stuff, 150s, 200s, 250s. We obviously sell everything and sell a lot of, so you just want to look and see kind of what's out there. Condos in North Myrtle Beach, though, increased up 7.4% from 121 to 130. Their median price went up 13.3% for condos from 176.5 to 200. So great news there. Little River closed sales was actually up. So we talked about 22% decrease. Little River sales up 4.3%, which is great news. Price is pretty much flat last month. It was $221,013. And it was $220 the same month last year. Year to date, though, prices in Little River up 14.8%. So Little River is kicking butt, which is great news. Median price year to date, $241,001, which is awesome. There are not many condos sell up that way, so the numbers don't really, not that important there. Carolina Forest, single-family home sales down 14.1%. So you see a pattern here, right? Double-digit declines in both Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, Carolina Forest right now. Went from 92 to 79 last month. Prices dropped 1.2% last month alone. The great news, though, prices up 4.9% for the year for Carolina Forest. And so what we're seeing, though, is a little bit of softening last month in closings. And so that's something to be aware of. I was talking to a good friend of mine who's one of the top agents in Charleston, and we share ideas and network a lot. And he was saying that he feels like they're kind of on the shelf in Charleston where it hit such a high price. Affordability is gone. You're seeing a slight decline now. And so hopefully we're not seeing that, but it's something you want to keep in mind where you may be towards that so-called peak based on prices and sales. And obviously there's a million different reasons. We'll keep watching it in that regard. And so Surfside, overall sales, great news, up 5.7% last month for prices. Closed sales up 6.3% last month, and so really kicked the recap prices went from 243 to 257, and year to date Surfside prices up 8.4%. Overall, condo sales in Surfside up 13.9%, prices up 12%. So as you can tell, the micro market matters, right? You're seeing some with a 22% decline, some with a 6.3% increase. It's very, very important that your agent understands to dive into the micro market. Now, what we also do is we dive into your neighborhood. There's a whole other world we dive into within your neighborhood because you have so many other intricacies to your neighborhood, things like that. Soxy sales down 10.8%. Prices down 1.5% last month. The great news, though, year-to-date in Soxy, prices up 6.7%. We'll see that kind of continue to play out. Into Garden City, Myrtle's Inlet, sales down 19.6% last month from 107 to 86. So we're seeing a softening here as a pattern. And so if you're thinking about selling, you definitely may not want to wait till fall this year. I'm not sure how long it's going to continue, what's going to happen. And what's also interesting is that rates have been fairly low the past couple months. And so we want to watch and see what happens. So like year-to-date, sales in Garden City and Myrtle's Inlet down 5.5%. And so that's something that's important to make sure you're watching out for as well. Conway, closed sales down 12.3%. And so it went from 154 to 135. Your overall prices, though, up 2.1% last month. Median price 188.74. And year-to-date prices up 7.1% in Conway. Aner, you're seeing the same thing, pretty much flat. It went from 6 sales to 5 sales, that in that regard. So there's not a whole lot of data. The good news is year to date, it's the exact same. 23 sales. The same time last year, 23 sales. So Aner, you're still holding on there, doing great. Pawleys Island, they're up 5.7%. Prices up 2.9% last month in Pawleys Island. Median price 368 even. And so anyone asks you what's going on in the marketplace, you can give them some very detailed numbers. And also Georgetown dropped 26.9% last month. And there's not a whole lot of data. It went from 26 to 19. So that's just something for single families there overall to watch out. But bottom line is we're seeing a pattern. You may have noticed that pattern too. You're seeing some declines where normally, guess what, we haven't been seeing? Declines. And so I'm not sure, if that's just something that may be part of a little small dip. Again, I don't see any huge softening or anything that's a major player yet. Obviously, the economy overall is still doing pretty good. But what you're seeing is we're hitting a little bit of a cap. Once you start hitting that 300,000 range as an overall marketplace, that does kind of knock some people out from obviously buying. And so also buyers will hold back. Now, that's something we'll continue watching. But if you're selling, you've been thinking about selling this year, like don't wait until fall or January. We met with someone this week who wants to sell their house. They had a different agent over 6 months, no selling, and they didn't want to do anything. They want to wait till fall. And they were, well, may not want to wait till fall. And say, well, we're going to wait till January. Man, I would definitely not wait till January because there's only one time really that's worse than selling in the fall. And that's wintertime, right? So, in January, as we know, falls in what season? Wintertime. And so, definitely play the seasonality, right? I know I say this a lot, but like it's so simple but so powerful because guess what? That's when everyone's coming to town. If you walk outside, it feels amazing outside, right? And so that's when people are out buying. You want to tee your house up to match up when people are buying. It's all psychology, but the reality is we may be seeing something here that we may see a decline in price. You're seeing it in 2 or 3 areas, but the pattern you're seeing is double-digit decline in sales. So guess what? We all been teaching on this show for 8 years, is that price is always a lagging indicator, meaning that it's usually 2 to 3, sometimes 4 months behind what you're seeing sales do. So if you see sales increase, you're not going to see immediate price increase, right? If you see sales decrease, you're not going to see immediate price decrease. And so don't wait 3 and 4 months when you're trying to get on a little bit of a downswing that may hurt you. So if you're thinking about selling, if you want to know more, especially about your neighborhood, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD, because definitely it's getting interesting. And you want to make sure have someone who knows what the heck they're doing, who has the technology and the data that can dig in to obviously help make a decision. If you want to, big time news on rates.
Yeah, rates have been very interesting.
Yes, and so it's been all over the place. This past week we hit a 21-month low, which is obviously almost 2-year low there. It went down all the way to 3.86%. And as of Friday, jumped back up a little bit, 3.92%. There's a bunch of different reports. A lot of these news articles everyone's been seeing from the Freddie Mac Weekly Index. They come out once a week. I like to use a tool that's daily, and so that's why you're kind of seeing it did bump back up. And so right now for a 30-year fixed rate, 3.92%, 15-year fixed rate, 3.70%, which is awesome. A 30-year FHA loan, 3.72%, which is awesome. I mean, you're getting in 3% down, sometimes less than that. Like I was telling you, we had a VA buyer last week who walked away with a check at closing, which is pretty cool that we're able to help him do there. Jumbo loan, 3.92%, and a 5-year adjust rate mortgage right now, 3.87%. And so very few times in my career, which is 14 plus years now, plus growing up in the business, do I see a FHA significantly lower than a adjust rate mortgage. Usually the 5-year ARM was usually kind of one of the least, lowest rates. Right now you get a 30-year FHA, very, very, very low, even less than an ARM. And so that's something to be, I guess, very aware of and watching what's going to happen. Now, here's the interesting numbers. So obviously I'm a nerd for numbers. I want to try to get you all some real data on how much does these rates make people move, right? How much is going to make them get off that fence? If you listen to in the previous shows, we talked about that, and I know the market very, very well. So check this out. From a National USA Today finance article, it said, Americans are scrambling to refinance mortgages as borrowing costs tumble, right? It's the lowest rate since September 2017. Check this out. Total mortgage applications surged 26.8% last week, right? By an increase of refinancing. And that data is from the Mortgage Bankers Association last week. And so check this out. Applications to refinance mortgages jumped a whopping 47% from the prior week, obviously, to the highest level back in 2016. So a huge jump there. Now, what about buyers? And here's the other part that's most important for us and what we're talking about. But the same thing, if you're a listener, my job is to help educate you to make good decisions. If you're thinking about refinancing, you probably want to reach out to your mortgage broker to talk about it. If you don't have anyone, reach out to us. More than happy to hook you up with someone. This is whoever's the best fit for you. We have no interest in any certain person, but we're more than happy to I know the best. I'm always trying to find the best. Seriously, I want to know who's the best at what type program. So going back to that example of an ARM, who's the best lender can do an ARM for you? Who's the best lender can do an FHA for you? I know who to go to if it's a condo sale versus traditional single family. If you're an investor versus a first-time buyer, we know who to match you up with just because different banks have different programs. And so I'm always trying to search for the best ones. Like that stuff you remember last week's testimony, we had somebody who'd been searching for a property, trying to buy for over 10 years. She got to us, and guess what we were able to help her do? Buy, because we know the most aggressive lenders who lend the most money for the best rates. That's how we sell houses faster, because we're able to figure out the ones to get it done. And that's small details there. But anyways, a 10% increase in people who are purchasing, right, who finally responded to that. So just to recap, mortgage applications to buy a home perked up, increasing 10% after several weeks of lackluster showings, as house shoppers finally responded to these falling rates. And so that's obviously, we're seeing this across the country, a little bit of slowdown. We're finally seeing that, which, as I said before, we're usually 4 to 6 months behind California, Vegas, Florida, all that stuff. And so overall, though, that's great news in regards to what you're seeing. So what we saw is 10% of buyers, or 10% increase in buyers getting pre-qualified to buy homes. What's that mean if you're a home seller? Take advantage of this. If you get 10% jump in buyers who are jumping off the fence, tee your house up when there's 10% more buyers, especially when we're coming to the hottest time of the year from an economy standpoint, right, which is obviously June and July. And so I'll talk about in a minute really quick that, the article we shared a while back, the best days the best days to list your house. There's 2 times. There's a couple of days in May, and guess what? 3 days in June. The best days to list your house in June. This is a national study, if y'all remember. Okay. It was basically, they analyzed 29 million home sales. So that's a lot of data here. The best days to list your home in June, the 20th, the 21st, and the 28th. And so
those seem to be coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I brought this article back up, because remember it said basically a new study from ATOM Data Solutions shows you want to get the best price for your house, you list on these 5 days. And the other 2 obviously in May, but they averaged a 10% higher premium than the other days. It's crazy. Why is that? Because that's when the daggone buyers are out there buying, right? And so make sure you're able to do that. If you're thinking about selling, don't wait till Tuesday. Don't wait till Wednesday. Don't write this stuff down. Call me today. 843-808-SOLD. Go ahead and save me in your phone. Anyone you run into is thinking about buying and selling, tackle them. Say, look, you got to call Blake, 843-808-SOLD.
All right, that is definitely the number, 843-808-SOLD. Coming up in just a second, we got more great stuff to look into. We've got your hot buyers alert. We got some fantastic success stories. And if we have time, there's plenty of more for us to jump into. If you want more information about what you've already heard, that's easy. Call that number that we just mentioned, 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. Talk to Blake Sloan now at Sloan Realty Group.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaVox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts.
What are we looking at? I'm long, right?
When Our Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year,
I'm long.
Really tight. I didn't know how far. You've got probably
3.5
minutes.
Okay, so we'll do the quick hot buyers.
Okay.
And then we'll do those success stories. I'm very kind of proud of those.
Stress-free. An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why in Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com, or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. Start packing.
It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Coming up in just a minute, success stories. But right now it's time for your Hot Buyers Alert. If you've got a home in the Myrtle Beach area or you're looking to sell anywhere in the range from $150,000 to $3.5 million, they need inventory. So call Blake immediately at 843-808-SOLD. How many people are looking for homes right now in the Myrtle Beach area? On Blake's website alone, active home buyers, 53,398. Blake, that's an amazing amount of people.
Huge. Real people on the site, username, password account that are actually searching to buy, right?
Yeah.
Right now on the site, we got people from Connecticut, Illinois, Maryland, Virginia, Myrtle Beach, Charlotte, North Carolina, Pittsburgh, PA, Mount Laurel, Chesterfield, South Carolina. So anyways, all over. And so I know we're short on time, right? How much, like 2 minutes?
Got a couple minutes.
Okay, yeah. So I want to, if you're thinking about selling, we have the buyers, right? Reach out to us, 843-808-SOLD. But now I want to go over three really quick, amazing success stories I'm very, very proud of. One of them is myself. Very cool. Big congrats to Austin, who's actually, I'm actually buying her house on Monday, and it's cash, no contingencies. And she's a former client who we had the property under contract. We sold it. The buyer backed out last minute. And so she basically didn't want to go back on the market. Just say, hey, look, can you buy it out? Came in, bought it out, came in cash, no contingencies. Boom, we're closing on Monday. And so a lot of people ask me, does Blake actually do that? Yeah, obviously we do that. I have a fund myself. I'm connected to another fund. I have a huge pool of investors, but more importantly, I'm able to buy, and back that stuff up we talk about, which is awesome. So really quick, Laura, huge shout. And this kind of talk about a nightmare story we helped fix for her. Laura had been trying to sell her house in Myrtle Beach for over a year and a half so she could move back to Florida to be close to family. She literally was going through a nightmare, went through multiple agents who could not get the job done, who basically were just telling her they were going to do stuff and didn't do it. But she was about to give up when her friend referred her to Sloan Group after hearing all the success stories on the radio. We came in, identified the problem, which was marketing, implemented global marketing blitz, professional photos, drove massive traffic online and both in the house. Had an offer in a couple weeks for 97% of asking price. Now, obviously, Laura is ecstatic and can now finally return to Florida, be next to family. After a year and a half with the wrong people, we come in a couple weeks, done deal. So this stuff matters, y'all. That's why I'm so passionate about it. Another cool story, Dean had a house in Conway. We're out of town. We'll get that one next week. No, that's a long one, so we'll get back to it next week. Bottom line, call us and we'll make you our next success story.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off like that. All right, yeah. Well, if you want to hear the story, give Blake a call.
Yeah, we'll do that too.
Sloan Realty Group. Phone number is 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. A lot of great stuff here that we've heard throughout the last 30 minutes. If you want to recap on that, talk to Blake. He'll get you involved and get you sold as quick as possible. Blake, great show. Talk to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sounds good. It is the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Selling your home doesn't have to be filled with drama or having to pay hidden fees. Hey, your friend Sean Hannity here to tell you, as an active investor, I firmly believe in working with the smartest local agents who sell homes in high volume. Prepare your home